Hey, Jeff, you're still here. How's your Friday going, brother? Chair is noisy. It's good. We had some company come over. I got to look at a 2017 Mustang 2.3 liter EcoBoost. Looked at the boost control system. Think I'm going to pull a tune off of it here soon and dig into it and see what we can do. Maybe dial a little more horsepower into it. I think probably has some room for about 30 or 40 horsepower on stock. It looks like it. Yeah, I mean 305 horsepower, I think, is what they're making stock on that 2.3 liter. And that turbo is tiny, very, very small. Very surprised that they're making 300 horsepower out of a 2.3 with a literally, it's one of the smallest turbos I've ever seen. I'm telling you, it looks like something that should be hanging off the back of a side by side, not off of a Mustang. So, hey, if you just joined in, go ahead and say hi in the chat. Got a couple more that just jumped in here. It's Friday night here in the garage. Just hanging around, drinking a beer. Just had some company leave. Didn't have much else going on. So hopefully I got a little better light. I don't know if the audio is working out that good. I don't know how to turn the audio up on this thing. Just let me know if you can hear me. No, Jeff, I had an 81 Corvette that made the same. So it did not feel fast. Did you do any tuning this afternoon, Jeff? Oh man, you poor soul. You poor soul. I'm pretty sure that changing that one parameter will fix it. Hey, Michael. I appreciate it, man. Sorry that you got to work tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably do another stream some point in time this weekend. I don't have much going on, so might as well show up here and answer some questions. But you have a good night, man. Safe work tomorrow. Stay cool. Watch the heat. I got to figure out how to share screens on here. I think I want to have to get some more software installed. Ask the Google machine. It'll know. Who else is in here besides Jeff? I know Michael was in and out. We got a couple people in here. Say hi if you're in here. Paul, you know what, Paul? Since you're in here, let me pull it up right now. You open your email up. I'll take a look at it. Paul, remind me again, what was the issue? Hey, Carl, welcome to the chat tonight. Paul, you were having transition issues, pulling timing at takeoff. Okay. Got your tune pulled up here. Let's take a look at it. So you're not getting timing pulled because, well, 16SS. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Paul, do you have a log where you're actually giving it wide open throttle? Okay, let me look at it. Hey, everybody that's just showed up, hop in the yeah, Rittinger, that sounds about right, man. IATs pulling 4 degrees on an NA. Yep, been there. That with this time of year, IATs will kill your timing. If you haven't said hi in the chat, go ahead and say hi in the chat. We're looking at Paul's tune right now. I wish I could throw this up on the screen so you guys could see what I'm messing with here. But I'll kind of talk through it. Paul is having an issue where it looks like it's pulling some timing out on the lean in. Yeah, no, Redinger, that's I'm in Western Pennsylvania, so I'm feeling you. My IATs have been running in the hundreds lately, so it's like -4 degrees is standard. What the? This is the wrong file. Hold on, Paul. I'm trying to figure this thing out. Yeah, I know. I got the right tune, but I've got so many files called E85 tune that it's acting stupid. After 3K works good. Okay, good to know. Okay, let's see here. Who? 27, 6.5. Man, this thing's pulling 21 degrees, Paul. What's going on with that? Yeah, you are getting chopped down real hard. Let me see if I can find out why here. $60. Dude, you're running super rich. Are you seeing this, Paul? That can't be right. Yeah, dude, even for E80, well, So let me ask you this, Paul. Are you running a E85 on a non-flex fuel vehicle? Is that what's going on? Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. So it's not as bad. That would explain a lot. That's why you're running 0.69 lambda. Ooh. Okay. Hmm. That's what's hosing you, Paul. Well, no, that's not it. It's the fact that you're running so rich, but I'm not sure how to fix that. I'm looking here. Give me a second. Let me look at your tune here. Let me see if I can figure out a way of correcting that without it being so pissed off, because that's basically what it looks like. Is it's kind of pissed off that. Have you tried? Have you tried changing your Stoic AFR over to your E85 level and then setting? Well, actually, you shouldn't have to change your timing tables the way they are. So your Stoic AFR tables are still set up at 14.6 to 8.9, but given that you are running without a flex fuel sensor, it's still trying to basically hunt 14.6, but you're forcing your 0.69, 0.7 or whatever. I would try changing that Stoic table down to 0.85. Does that make sense? Am I making sense to you, Paul? Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm saying is, since, I mean, you've got the flex fuel scale on your tune there, blow that thing out, set it to like 9.5. Yeah, set that thing to 9.5 across the scale. You're going to have to retune your maps, but try that out and see if that fixes your timing issue. Or yeah, you could do that. You could throw the sensor in, and especially because it's a 2016 Camaro, the sensor or the harness should be there on the fuel rail. So you could buy that sensor for like $80 and pipe that thing in and just enable the rest of the settings to turn it into a full flex fuel tune that way. But if not, I would try adjusting that, because I think it might be pulling some timing because of the weird kind of discombobulation between where it thinks the fueling AFR should be and where it's actually at. So give that a shot. Well, who else we got in here? We got 11 people. We got C. Redinger. What's your first name? C. Redinger. And then, of course, we got Jeff and Paul. Charlie. Okay. There we go. We got Charlie. We got Paul. We got Jeff. Who else is in there? There's a lot more people than you three. So if you're in here, say hi. Pipe up. Riding. Okay. Riding. Gotcha. Bazigo Innovations. I know that's not your name. What is going on, Bazigo? Give me some background on Bazigo. Joe's here. Larry's here. Hey, Larry. You play with ones and zeros also. Does that mean you you dealing with binary? Nice. Nice. What RV platform did you work on? Spartans or I'm an automation engineer. So my day job is that I do PLCs, things like that. So ladder logic, function block. That's my background. I've owned 2 RVs and a fifth wheel. Bazigo, honestly, organic grower, but fabricator by trade. 2005 GMC long travel. Nice. Nice. Yeah, I've been doing PLC programming for about 15 years now. Nice. On your 2005 Bazigo. Dude, well, I messed up, Charlie, on the last one. I listen. I bought a 2009 GMC dually, had a 45-foot fifth wheel. Whenever I was living in Texas, whenever we bought a house down there, actually we built a house, sold the fifth wheel, and so I got rid of the dually. After we got rid of the dually, I decided that I wasn't going to do a dually again because it costs almost as much. Actually, it costs as much as the fifth wheel. So between the dually and the fifth wheel, so I went out and bought a used motorhome. It was not big enough. Got rid of it about 6 months later. Got a bigger motorhome, and then at the end of it, I wish I still had my dually. And I honestly wish I would have had my dually in a toy hauler. Carl, you work on the Bluegrass Army Depot. What's the Bluegrass Army Depot? I'm ex-Air Force, by the way. I worked on F-15s and F-16s. Finley Truck and RV. That sounds familiar. Yeah. Carl, you're like I don't know what, 4 hours west of me. Bazigo, what do you mean? Damn blue wire on the stock Charger unit. Can't find its location. Charles, I don't need another motorhome. I don't need another fifth wheel. I don't need any of that shit in my life. I don't know more. Listen, my wife, I made her live in one of those things for like 3 years. Yeah, I don't need a divorce. The fact that she stayed with me for 3 years, yeah, no, it's. My last one was a 2010 Tiffin, so pusher, sweet rig. I got rid of that one. Done for a long time now. Oh yeah, no, loved it, loved it until I drove it through downtown St. Louis, and somehow managed to knock a mirror off and have the outside pane of one of the side windows. Outside pane, inside pane was fine. Outside pane got blown out. That was a $1,300 window. Ugh. The cluster on the SCVRA has some wire off of it, and it gives a single for the charge rate. And after rewire, PCM relocation, the label is missing. Or lost the label, darn it. Bazigo, I actually have no clue what the hell you're talking about. I'm looking back through these messages, see if they make any sense. Okay. 18 gauge blue wire. 18 gauge blue wire on what, brother? You got to help me out here. Are you talking about on your 2005 GMC? Like you got to give me some input. Charlie, thank God you're not a salesperson. I sold Chryslers back in the day. Paul, you do not want a Class A, trust me. There's Paul, whatever reason that you might want a Class A, Paul, trust me, it's not worth the hassle. Joe, 95 Cherokee with an LS6 in it. Nice. I need to tune it better, but I don't have a wideband. Is it possible to do a good tune without one? Joe, it is. Okay. Okay, guys. I'm going off on a tangent here. I'm going to school Joe on why we don't tune on narrowband alone. Okay, Joe? And this nothing against you. A lot of people want to know why we don't tune on narrowband alone. The big thing is that narrowband is dialed into a very small regions. So if you are looking for 14.7 AFR, that is one fuel per 14.7 whatever of air. That's, it's 14.7 PSI atmospheric. If you want to look for that with a narrow band O2 sensor, that is what we call the switching range, where the narrow band goes from high to low. So as the narrow band switches between these 2 points, the ECM does calculations to say, okay, what is the average? How much is it high? How much is it low? And then it gets this ratio down that actually tells it where it's at. That's fine and dandy. That works out great until you go into power enrichment. Power enrichment, based on different platforms, comes on at different times, yada, yada, yada. Whenever you go into power enrichment, as far as the narrow bands are concerned, you're always rich. So the narrow bands cannot calculate properly whenever you're in power enrichment. So they are no longer switching. They're always in whatever state that they're going to be in. It's probably a 1, hell, I don't even know. But they're always in that state whenever you are in power enrichment. That is the critical part. So a lot of people will tell you, go in, disable power enrichment. You can use your narrow band sensors to tune your fuel map. And that is technically true. You can do that, but you have to be critically aware that whenever your narrow bands are disabled and whenever power enrichment is disabled, that your cylinder temperatures will get very, 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 very high, which in turn makes your ECT goes high, which means that because your ECTs are high, that you will be pulling additional timing out and everything kind of gets out of whack. So your best bet is to pony up, spend the $300. I don't even think it's $300 anymore. It used to be like $500 to get widebands. Spend the money to get a wideband, throw a wideband in there, and leave power enrichment enabled. That way, whenever you tune and it goes and commands power enrichment, you can still actually see the difference and do your error ratio off of power enrichment. So, does that answer your question? Charles, yeah, a lot of newer vehicles have wideband from the factory. So, in fact, the 2017 Mustang I was looking at, the first sensor was a wideband. It's awesome. Paul, I have seen the new C8. Okay, the new C8 is based on Global B architecture. Everything from 2014 on to now has been Global A, which has been kind of a pain in the ass. But an even bigger pain in the ass has been the latest ZR1s. That's why companies like HP Tuners have had issues where you have to actually send into ECM. They have to do physical modifications. And hold on, Charles, I'll get back to that. You have to do physical modifications on the latest ECMs because the architecture has changed. So the 2019, 2020 C8, the C8, the new Corvette is going to be the first official Global B architecture. And what that means is the architecture, there is a lot of different communication protocols on these vehicles. So you've got GM LAN, you've got LAN bus, you've got CAN bus, you've got a whole bunch of different communications protocols. And so the ECM, the TCM, the gauge cluster, the stereo, the amplifier, the BCM, all these different modules have to communicate together. All of these different modules have a VIN. They are locked down based off the VIN number. That way, if you have to replace one, you have to go to a dealer. They have to hook up the, not the Tech 2, but the, whatever the Bosch thing is. You know, it's that device. They have to hook that up. They have to download a file that has your VIN number locked into it to make that device work with the rest of them. All of this stuff it communicates together. It really hoses itself out. So that's on Global A. Global B is getting ready to come out. That stuff is going to be locked down even more. So the guys down at HP Tuners, EFI Live, all these different companies, they're going to have to figure out a new way to access the memory of these different modules. Not only do you have to find a way to access the memory and rewrite the memory, you actually still have to figure out what all these different tables are. So back in the day, whenever I bought my Corvette in 2008, we did not have the VVE tables. They did not exist. Nobody knew how the hell to tune these things. We were just raping the PE tables and like jacking up all kind of fueling whenever we were doing crazy modifications and stuff like that. So they finally figured out, oh, hey, all these random numbers over here, these are the coefficients. These are now what we know as the virtual volumetric efficiency tables. So given that we're moving on to a new platform, there's going to be all kinds of random stuff. It's going to be torque based, just like the Gen 5s are. Who knows what other kind of curveballs they're going to throw in there. There's going to be all kinds of a mess. I would not even consider getting into a Global B architecture car for another year or two. So, okay, Charlie, AM with an NTK sensor. Okay. Car is an 11 Caprice cop car with an L77 E38. I don't think you're even talking to me at this point in time. Hopefully I didn't spit too much craziness about Global V out there. I love the new Corvette. I think it's great. 500 horsepower, basically. I mean, LS3, we're still on 6.2 liters, or LT1, whatever the hell you want to call it. Nothing's changed that much in the last decade. Then we went to direct injection, which is kind of awesome, but at the same time, it sucks. I'll be honest with you guys. Direct injection, man, you can do some cool stuff with it, but that narrow window on injection timing is a pain in the ass. Port injection is a lot better for us guys that are trying to make huge amounts of horsepower. It's a lot easier to make that power. You're trying to describe what the GM dealership used for programming pass-through. Yeah, the MDI2. You're right. Yeah, Charlie, in the hell, what's the generic one? I've done a video on it. The VCX Diag, whatever it's called, VX Diag. I have used the VX Diag to reprogram modules. In fact, I've done my own recalls with it. Not that it's good to do that. I would not suggest anybody do that. But I have done a recall. It was a silly one. I don't even remember what the hell it was for, but it was one of those things. Can you do it? Let's try and do it. Paul, it depends on what your situation is. That is the ultimate question. MAF versus speed density. The general consensus is that speed density is easier, but that was the idea back whenever Gen 3 was coming on, and that's what guys were using. I would say nowadays MAF is easier as long as you can get your mass airflow sensor far enough away from the throttle body that you're not getting interference from big cams, things like that. But at the end of the day, speed density is probably more universal. Speed density is going to work with everything. If you go aftermarket, if you go Haltech, if you go Holley, all those things, they're all going to be speed density. Charlie, here's the unit that I was talking about. This is the VX Diag that I used to. You can use it through the Tech Connect and all that stuff. Paul, you can do speed density only on the Gen 5. My Silverado right now is speed density only. Split 150, where are you at in Southwest PA? Charlie, it's a pain in the ass. I'll be honest. It's a pain in the ass, but it's cheap. So for the money, for $100, you can literally hook it up to Tech Connect and use it to flash factory ROMs and stuff like that. So it's worth its weight in gold, because compared to, you know, an actual Bosch MDI2 or whatever. Yeah, no, I would buy my own MDI also, but I don't want to spend that much money. Jamie Estrada, tuned solely on wideband or ever use fuel trims for drivability. For drivability, yeah, you can use fuel trims all day for drivability. You can't use fuel trims for wide open throttle. You know, I was talking about this before you jumped in here, Jamie. Fuel trims do not register properly whenever you go into power enrichment. Hey, Annihilator, welcome back, brother. Greensburg, where's Greensburg at? Let me look at the map here. I'm not from up here, so I'm not familiar. Oh, you're from southeast of Pittsburgh. I'm in North Hills. So, you know, I'm probably 2 hours away from Greensburg, right? You're over by Latrobe, where Rolling Rock used to be. Notice that my fuel trims don't match wideband very well during idle on big cam vehicles. That's, you know, Jamie, that's just kind of what happens whenever you run a big cam. You're going to have issues anytime, because you got to remember, we're talking about airflow. That is the basis of everything that we do. So whenever you get a cam, a big cam in particular, whenever you have a lot of overlap, you're going to have a lot of turbulation whenever you're in idle, where air is trying to get out, in, out, in, out. It's a mess. It's a mess. So that's part of the reason why we usually have to bump the idle RPMs up on a big cam, is because if we get it where it's like the stock RPMs, there's too much crossover on the cam where it just does not work. You know, idle on big cams, you just have to dial that thing in, make it work out. Annihilator, Youngstown. My father-in-law works in Youngstown. I am I don't know. I'm in Pittsburgh. You know where Pittsburgh's at. Findlay? Yeah. You're out in western part of Ohio. Yeah, Paul, that's a pretty deep topic. We'll do one of those videos here soon. That one, injection timing gets really complicated because Gen 5's direct injected engines, as I said, you got to look at start of injection. You know, and that's when you're dialing down crank position versus cam position, because we are talking about angles. Annihilator, are you a racer? And even if not, I'm spinning the wheels off on launch and want to know how and where to pull some timing. Can you advise here? Not so much anymore, Annihilator. I used to be back in my Corvette days until I almost wicked a $60,000 Corvette into the wall down at Thunder Valley in Noble, Oklahoma. You guys probably know that drag strip from the Street Outlaw guys. Almost stuck a brand new Corvette into the wall down there. I have not raced a lot since then. I held a couple world records back in the day, but we won't get into that. Want to pull some timing. Hey, Jamie, you've been there. You probably raced into the sun then. That track is terrible. I hate that track. Literally faces the sun in the afternoons. Annihilator, I'm still looking at your question. I'm trying to think of the best way to accomplish that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. You're on a manual, right? Tommy, welcome to the channel, brother. Listen, it'll start to make sense. Just keep on watching. You know, don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to do a video here soon in particular, I want to look at, there is the option of going from basic to advanced on the tuner software. I don't necessarily know that there's that much advantage going into the advanced settings. I'm going to double check. That's why I'm going to do a video. We're going to go into that. We're going to look at whether or not you can do all or the majority of your tuning just off the basic, because there is so much crap on the tuner software. You know, and most of it just overwhelms you. It's too much information. As I've said, I'm going to just beat this door down 1,000 times. It's all about air. It's all about fuel. It's all about timing. Those three things are 99% of what you are going to tune on your vehicle. So, okay, Annihilator, you're on a 4L80. You want to ease it out. What year was your car again? You're on a 2012 Camaro SS? I can't keep all these straight. I try. I apologize. Paul, I'll be anxious to see what you think of the Pro. I'm going to upgrade next month. I'm going to do a video on the upgrade. I'm going to tie in my boost, and my boost is not that big, but my methanol injection gauge. Be anxious to try that out, see how it works. We're up to 14. If you haven't said anything, but go ahead and say hi. Man. Annihilator, you know, are you in Youngstown? You said you're in Youngstown, Annihilator. I'm not fretting it. I'm just thinking maybe I need to come over and look at it. Yeah, Paul, that's correct. I don't know why that is. It's kind of BS. Don't get me started on that. Tommy, you're changing the tire size. Well, as I said, maybe you need to get it advanced. Use the Tire Wizard. You know, it's under Edit, Gear and Tire Wizard. Hey, Charlie, have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it, brother. Tommy, use the Tire Wizard. That thing will adjust all of your transmission shift points. Makes it easier. Man, you're all the way down in Kentucky. Oh, I wish you were still in Youngstown. I would come over and help you out in person, brother. I'm going to see. Let me look up. You're still running the 2012 ECM on that one? You're running a 4L80 on that thing. I was about to say, that's It's not a stock transmission for that thing. Infiltrator strong. No, but you can join my Patreon, and I take suggestions from my Patreon, my patrons. They get first input on videos. In fact, I've got one that I'm working on this weekend. It's $15 a month. Actually, it's $5 a month for the base level. Paul, can you tune Gen 5 doing map tune without messing with torque management or VVE? Paul, you can do that, but you have to remember dynamic air is going to possibly mess with you on your map tune unless you disable dynamic. And there's no reason to do a map tune unless you actually change the diameter of your intake tube where your map is at. Won't work. I mean, it will work. It just won't make any difference. Your MAF, okay. You've got your intake tube with your MAF sensor that's in. That thing does not care about anything. You could throw the biggest ass turbo on there. As long as you do not exceed your MAF, that thing will work no matter what, no other mods, whatever. That is a mass sensor. That thing measures mass. If you exceed it, it's around 16,000 hertz. All you have to do is go from the small tube to a bigger tube until you don't exceed it anymore. Whenever you do upsize the tube on that, though, you have to retune your MAF curve. That's it. That MAF is great. You will have issues, though, whenever you get into bigger cams, things like that. And that's just like some air turbulence and stuff like that. You can actually move your MAF further away from the throttle body and generally be all right, as long as, you know, it's not too close to a turbo. But you also have to have a straight section in which your mass airflow sensor is in. It's called laminar flow. You have to have generally what we consider the best solution is for the diameter of the tube in which your MAF sensor is in. You want to multiply that by 3 and have that on both sides. So if you're running a 3-inch tube, you want to have 9 inches on both sides if possible. It's more important on the upstream than the downstream. So if you can get 9 inches upstream of your MAF sensor on a 3-inch tube, you know, and you can get 5 or 6 inches downstream, you're going to be all right. That's not a, you know, guaranteed rule of thumb. That is the best case scenario to make sure that your MAF sensor reads all right. Okay. Nylair, I haven't forgot about you. I'm still working on your question. Jonathan, I want to know what classes should a mechanic of 25 years look into taking first, and what different tuning software is available that doesn't require you to purchase credits. Jonathan, honestly, you need to look into, if you want to tune vehicles without having to purchase credits, look into some of the imports. There's a lot of imports out there that have open source tuning software. I know it's not the most glamorous way of doing that, but it is what it is. As far as classes go, I would not suggest any classes. I would suggest finding a platform that you want to specialize in and doing research on that platform. You're a mechanic of 25 years, so you're probably already kind of down that pathway somewhat, where you know a lot about these things. And the cool thing about that is you know how all these things work. You just need to know how the ECU operates in order to make these things work. So find out what is the most supported software for the platform that you want to learn on, and that's where you need to go to. Tommy, I appreciate that, brother. Texaville 82 LQ9 swap backfires under load. That means you've got too much fuel. Fresh rebuild with the TSP 216-220 cam, LS6 valve springs, 100% sure, correct length push rods. Okay. VE and MAP dialed in great with wideband and HP tuners. Honestly, Texavel, double check to make sure you're not drawing air in. You could have a pinhole next to your wideband that makes your wideband read a little bit rich or a little bit lean, and you have overcompensated with fuel if you are backfiring. I mean, it sounds stupid simple, but I've seen it 1,000 times where the smallest pinhole on the O2 bung allows just a little bit of air, and your wideband runs just a smidge lean, and you end up over-tuning really rich, and it causes backfires. Jonathan, what software can I use to access VATs and other deletes to ECM beside ASP tuners? Man, you're asking me. I'm the wrong guy to ask on that stuff, Jonathan. I have not been in the that stuff for a couple years now. So just you have to jump on the Google machine and do your research. Paul, why did you remove your math? I removed my math because I compacted my intake pipe from the outlet of the supercharger to the throttle body, and so now I have about 2 foot worth of intake pipe. I am now regretting it because I am having issues every time I start my truck. I get a spike of boost. Speed density has a hard time catching that spike of pressure, whereas MAF had a better time, I think. I don't know. I'm going to test that out. That's a video for another day. I honestly, where the Silverado is, does not necessarily need to have the MAF deleted. It would be perfectly fine on that. But I got rid of, I don't know, 7 foot of intake piping. And part of that is I don't have that much of a straight shot. If you look at where the outlet of my supercharger is, it does a 180, comes to the blow-off valve right after that, goes right to a section where the methanol injection is, then goes right to a section where the IAT sensor is, into the throttle body. There's not a lot of room in there for the mass airflow sensor because it would have to be between the outlet of the supercharger and the blow-off valve. It'd have to be right here between the blow-off valve and the methanol injection. There's not enough room because with that blow-off valve, there would be some air cycling and it would throw the mass airflow sensor off. PCM Cobra, what's your process for basic tuning for street without using a wideband? Brother, I don't have a process for basic tuning without a wideband. You can do it. You can do it, brother. You can do it. You have to disable power enrichment. You have to disable power enrichment, but you have to be damn careful because whenever you are disabling power enrichment, you are risking high cylinder temps. Everybody wants to tell you that power enrichment is for making more power. That is not true. Power enrichment is for keeping your cylinder temps down to make sure that you do not get detonation, because whenever you are in the higher RPMs, things get really hot really quick because you got a lot of action going on in there. Text value. Started that, welded and smoke tested, no leaks. Propane leak tested the intake as well, nothing. Burnt valves. Pulling it down later, we'll look at everything. Just looking for ideas. I don't know, man. I mean, it sounds like. Listen, Texaval, have you tried disabling your dynamic airflow and running off of MAF only and seeing how it acts? Because I'll be honest with you, regardless of about everything else that's happening downstream of the MAF sensor, if your MAF sensor, if you can dial that thing in, it doesn't really care that much about temperature and stuff like that, because all of that is part of the calculation with mass airflow. That's the nice thing about mass airflow. It doesn't care about ECT. It doesn't really care about IAT because IAT is part of the mass calculation, because the hotter the area is, the less temperature it pulls away from the hot wire as the MAF. I mean, I would I would focus on the math. You say it's dialed in, great, but make sure you disable all the dynamic. Do everything that you can. Get rid of dynamic. Run off of math and see if you're still getting backfire. And if you are getting backfire, watch your wideband. Watch your wideband. See what it's doing. Is the backfire only happening when you're lifting? Paul, yeah, it could be an injector stuck open, but you'd probably get a misfire, Jonathan, looking to purchase a dyno, is there a brand of style that you would recommend? No. I don't know enough about dynos. I won't blow smoke up your ass and tell you I do. LeCordrick, welcome to the chat, man. Have an LQ4, LSA, LS9 cam, speed density tune, runs but cuts off, have multiple grounds, block frame, body frame. Okay, runs but cuts off. You got to give me some more insight as to runs but cuts off. I need to know what that means. Runs, when does it cut off? Does it start? Do you have any issues on starting, LeCordrick? When does it cut off? Yeah, no problem, Annihilator. Give me a shout later, brother. Appreciate all your support, man. Runs for about 3 seconds. So the thing doesn't actually ever get up to idle, right, LeCordrick, sorry. Okay. LQ4L. Okay, hey, what you've got going on here, LeCordrick? You are jamming so much air in on start that the thing is okay. The thing your map is not expecting positive pressure during start, during crank. So you're going to need to go in and look at your crank VE. There should be a table specifically for crank VE. Go in there, start bumping that thing up by 20% and keep on bumping up crank VE by 20%. It maxes out at 200. See if you can get the thing running by bumping that 20% at a time, because literally what you're doing is your engine is not used to having a shit ton of air. I don't know if this is supposed to be censored or not. A ton of air getting jammed into the engine. You're talking about a naturally aspirated engine that's used to being on vacuum during crank. Then whenever you throw a supercharger on top of it, you're actually jamming air into it during crank. So go in there, look for the crank VE, and see if you can do something like that. Yeah, you're right, PC. There you go. Paul, should you tune fuel on pump gas and not E85? It depends on what you're doing. I mean, that's kind of a broad question. Pump gas, E85. Depends on if you're trying to tune E85 without flex fuel. Doesn't really matter either way. Okay, hey guys, I'm going to use the bathroom and grab a beer. I'll be right back. Throwing an ad in here. I don't even know what the hell that does. I'll be back. Give me about 2-3 minutes. Okay. Ugh. Got a fresh beer. We're good here. What'd I miss? Well, Tommy, you should piss. Cobra, you should grab a beer. Tommy, yes, C7 for life. C6 for life. C10 for life, yes. 69 short bed. Jealous. I saw a sweet. Oh God, what was it? It was a. Help me out, guys. Help me out. It was a square body. Scottsdale. Saw a regular cab, short bed Scottsdale. Fleet side, not a step side Scottsdale today. It was gorgeous. Split 150 can Gen 3 to be flatlined during warm up to help reduce the fuel smell if the car is catless. I don't know why not. Split, what? Give me an example. Let me look at a tune file for that. Like, let me see if I can find a Gen 3. Yeah, you're right, Tommy. Square bodies are badass. I might need a older tune. Cheers, gentlemen. Split 150. I'd be interested to look into that topic. It's very interesting. Larry, putting the final touches on an L67 3.8 with an M112 on top. We're in E85. PO4 ECU. There's a Stoic AFR single value table. Do I need to change this in addition to changing the math and VE tables? Okay, Larry, listen. Yes and no. Are you planning on running E85 full time? If so, yes, change that Stoic AFR table to, let's see here, where the hell it is. It's a bad example. It's around 9.8 or some shit like that. Yeah, 9.8. Change your E85 table across the board to 9.8. But doing that, you are going to need to tune your math and VE tables because that value is going to be the primary in a long calculation of calculating your fuel delivery. So if that makes sense. Split, using an 04 GTO and a swapped 350Z, you are using an LS1 5.7, the bastard LS1, as it were, in a 350Z. I'm sorry, brother. You picked the wrong LS1. P59. I don't know that the P59 was that's not the ECU for the LS1 GTO though, is it? You might be all right there. Are you just running pig rich whenever you start this thing up? That's what's happening? I mean, if it's split, if it's catless and you're not running stoic, it's going to smell like fuel. That's the name of the game, brother. The only thing that you can do about that is lean that shit out. Yeah, no problem, Larry. I just realized how noisy this chair is. Is this shit bugging you guys? I apologize. Tommy, run the Dominator. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it, brother. Let me know how it goes, man. Hopefully we get you sorted out here soon. Hit up the Patreon though. I appreciate that. Like, we'll get you some more tuning help. PRDs, I don't even know how to pronounce your name. We're just gonna call you Perdicito. Perdicito just swapped to a different 411 PCM with the same tune pasted to a different 411 OS. Now I'm lean on the wideband. On a 411, brother. Listen, PRD, you didn't change anything else besides the PCM. Same tune, pasted to a different 411 PO. Is this the same PCM, but help me out here, man. PRD, is it same tune, but you swap the PCM, or it's the same PCM and you changed the operating system? Did you do a segment swap? Like, can you clarify that for me? Tommy, I haven't turned anything yet though. I just plugged that shit in and it's learning. That's why I'm following you. Learn. Hey, brother, man, you're on the right path. You can't really screw that up. So, same tune on different 411 PCM. Okay. That makes no sense. Now, how lean are you? Do you know? Can you give me a percentage? Are you like you're shooting for 14.7 and you're at 16, or you're shooting for 14.7 and you're like at 14.9? Oh, wow. Okay, let me ask you this, PRD. How were you okay, this is on your gauge. Your gauge readout went from 13 to 17. Same tune, went from 13 to 17. Man, this is a weird situation. And I'll be honest with you, PRD, the situation that you got going on here that makes me a little bit nervous is that the drivers for your injectors are digital to analog drivers. So the drivers for your actual injectors might be having issues from one ECM to the next. That is an electronic issue where they are not actually outputting the correct current to get the proper fuel delivery. And so I am worried that your ECM might be the issue. Split 150. Mild cam in the 5.7 LS1. Been playing with edit at normal temp, try and get the least smell. Then I start thinking the warm-up portion might be the worst part. Bro, what's your AFR split? I mean, that's what it's going to boil down to. Are you running stoic on your AFRs? It doesn't matter, man. The warm-up is going to be a little bit rich, and it should be to get everything up to temp, but it doesn't have to be. I don't know, man. Dial that stuff in, get it like on the dot, dial it in. You should not get the fuel smell unless you're running rich. So it's kind of what it is. You can even lean it out, 5%. As long as it's just in the idle range, you can adjust that stuff. If you're running 15, something like that at idle, or running, 1.03 on EQ ratio, that's fine. Do that. It's not going to hurt on idle. It's only going to be an issue if you get up into some load. So, look at my beautiful dog over here. Come here. Kimber, come on. This is the rare C breed of Australian Shepherds. My grandma found this on the side of the road. Apparently, these dogs go for like $3,000. This is a stray. Come here. Come on. She's got golden eyes. You probably can't see it here, but she's got a golden eyes. I've had this dog for over a decade now. She's awesome. Yeah, Split, look at that. Make sure you're not running super lean, or super rich, I should say. Come here, Seven. This is Seven, the tuning dog. Some of you guys have seen Seven, the tuning dog. She was found at a Sonic in San Angelo, Texas. Jonathan, I'm going to do a cam and heads 5.3 and swap it in my currently S small block Chevy swap first gen S10. Start running HP tuners and start putting more of this info to you. Yeah, Listen, okay, I'm going to shoot you guys straight. If you want to get into tuning, you want to do it the most efficient way ever. As far as using stock ECUs in HP tuners, Gen 3 like Gen 3 Plus, which is like the early LS2s, late LS1s, like 04 GTOs, 04 Corvettes. That's kind of the Gen 3 Plus. That stuff is the easiest stuff to tune on HP tuners. After that, if you're wanting to do big horsepower, if you're wanting to not have a lot of hassle, I would suggest, if possible, if you're not wanting to keep a lot of the stock electronics, go into an aftermarket option such as the Terminator X, things like that. You can, and listen, but don't get me wrong, you can do seriously stupid stuff on the factory ECU. You can make 1,000 horsepower all day long. There's no doubt. Like, it gets complicated because a lot of the injector limits that you run into, like the 63-pound limit, that will kind of complicate things, and you have to get around that. But it is possible. People have done it. It is what it is. Jonathan, is there anything you would recommend to help me better get started? Yes, Jonathan, sign up to my Patreon. I'm going to pimp my own crap real quick. And honestly, no, this is BS, Jonathan. You don't, by no means, don't sign up. Hey, Split, have a good night. You don't have to sign up for this, Jonathan. I'm just giving you crap. Listen, the information is out there. As I said, I've said it multiple times. Don't spend any money on anything that is not beneficial to you. A lot of these books, a lot of these videos, stuff like that, that stuff, you know what? That is information. These guys have gone out. They have just taken the information that's already readily available and they've compressed it. If that is your path to learning this, that's fine. But there's no reason to do that. Man, like $400, like I don't even know what the hell it's going for nowadays. I don't want to call anybody out in particular. They have their own thing, and a lot of these guys are very smart and they put out good stuff. But $400 for a book, I don't know about all that. So the information is out there. You can get this information for free. You can learn this. You can ask questions as long as you ask the right question. A lot of these questions have been asked already. As I said, I touched on this beforehand. You know, if you want help, I will pimp my own Patreon because I have to make money. I have to eat at the end of the day. $15 a month gets you a exclusive email address where you can send your tune and log files, and I will look at those things. I will give you feedback. I will help you out. Or you could just sit around, you know, wait till every Friday or so whenever I do one of these things, and I will try to answer your questions the best of my ability. You know, I'm here to help you guys. I want this information to be 100% free. For the guys who are willing to pay $15 a month, I'm going to help them out first. But for the rest of you guys, I'm going to help you out too. I want this information to be out there. I want everybody who loves cars as much as I do to be able to tune your own car. There's no reason. It is so damn simple. I promise you, there's nothing that you cannot do. There's the most modified car out there. I've seen cars that are making 1,400 horsepower and they are running on a carburetor. If you can make 1,400 horsepower on a carburetor, you can do it on a fuel injected setup because that shit is super simple. I'm here to tell you. So that's kind of where it boils down to. So sorry, a little bit of a rant there. Didn't mean to get kind of bent out of shape, throw some shade at some people. But it is what it is. Like, I hate it. I mean, you know what? If you want to tune your car, if you want to, like, get your shit dialed in and spend $15 for 1 month and send me copies of your tune, and I'll look at it and tell you what's looking good and what's not looking good, and then you cancel at the end of that month, that's $15 as opposed to $400 for a book that does not explain why we're making changes. And I'm going to tell you why we're making changes for $15 a month. Honestly, I'm going to go into it. I'm going to say, hey, here is the issue that we're seeing. This is what we need to change, and this is why. And if I don't know what it is, we're going to dive into it, and we're going to figure that out because the next person, it's going to make it easier for them. David Gaines, any info on Dodge tuning? Yes, I can explain to you very simply, David, how to swap that out for an LS. I'm just kidding, brother. Seriously, though, it's all the same. I would love to get into some Dodges. I need access to Dodges. So, you know, honestly, I've not looked at a Dodge tune since I sold Dodges. You know, back I was driving a FDRX7 back then. Could care less. I was beating the doors off of Vipers at that point in time with 1.3 liters of pissed off turbos. So, but nonetheless, Dodge tuning, it's all the same. Dodge, Ford, doesn't matter. It's all about the air. It's all about the fuel. It's all about the timing. You got those three things dialed in. You're going to make the horsepower. We're going to touch on that here soon. So, sorry, I'm done ranting. I'm done ranting, guys. I appreciate you listening to that rant. I get so worked up, though. I see these guys selling this stuff for $150, $200. That's $1,200 for a 2-day class. What the hell are you going to learn in 2 days? Like, how can you digest all that information in 2 days? They're throwing so much crap on you. Paul, sorry, brother. You just missed me jumping on a giant rant. You didn't miss much, Paul. I'll tell you that much. I'm anxious to jump in on your knock sensor thing. I wish I could share the screen here and we do it right now, but damn straight, Paul. That beer starts them rants. Fact, you're here right now. Just covered. Okay, Jeremy. Want to let you know that I've been super helpful breaking stuff down, explaining why things are done. Well, that's what we're here for, Jeremy. We want to demystify tuning because it's not that complicated. We want to break it down to the smallest common denominator, find the solution to do tuning. That way you guys can knock this stuff out. There's no reason why you should have to pay some random dude $500 so he can do 3 rips on a dyno and kind of dial your shit in. Because I'll be honest with you, the guy is not, he's not doing you good. These guys are not doing you good. I'm not hating on these guys doing dyno tuning. They're doing what they can in the time that they are. Honestly, to properly tune a vehicle, it takes days. You have to go through multiple stages to get everything kind of dialed in. These guys, they throw it in 3rd gear, they throw it in 4th gear, whatever's 1-to-1. They rip wide open tunes and they just throw a lot of fuel on the map. And that's the safe way of doing it. It works. It does what it does. But, we throw one of those things out there. We could bring it out on the street. We could probably make another 30 or 40 horsepower on top of that just by actually tuning it properly. Hey, Greg, what's going on? Cheers to you, man. Salute. Okay, hey, Paul, let's look at this. I know you can't see my screen, but Paul, open up a tune. You guys ready for some action? We're about to talk about spark tuning, low octane table. I'm opening up a 2015 Corvette. 2015 Corvette. Yeah, no, Jeremy, $1,000 for a set of books is stupid. Stupid. I don't understand. Well, you know what? If I wanted to make money off of you guys, I could make the same damn books and I could sell them for $100 a pop and I could sell them all day long. And honestly, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to put good information out there. I'm here to help you guys out. I just want you guys to be able to properly understand what's going on in your vehicles. Okay, Paul. Got to open a 2015 Corvette. Should be close enough. Let's take a look at this. We are looking at the high octane versus the low octane tables. So you have on Spark, even if you go back into the older days, you always have a high octane and a low octane table. The difference between the two is high octane is optimal operation of your vehicle. And then low octane is basically as you get knock, it starts dragging you down from the high octane table down to the low octane table. And so it's, a lot of people will tell you, hey, let's go ahead and take your high octane table, copy it down to your low octane table. And that way you're always running your maximum amount of spark. That's not always desired, because if you're running something like methanol injection, forced induction on an NA vehicle, things like that, it might be a good idea to actually have a little bit of that protection. If you start getting into engine knock, you go down into less timing, so you're not blowing stuff up. So there is a lot of stuff going on the Gen 5s. I'm just telling you right now, there is so many tables going on there. But the big ones that we want to look at are the retard. It's not, guys. I'm going to say retard a few times and dwell in the knock sensor tables. But the big thing is we're looking for anything that has to do with duration, amplitude, things like that. So let's look at what we've got. We've got enables, we've got octane modifiers. Let's find the good ones. So underneath burst knock retard, we have a delay setting. The delay is going to be how many pulses to delay before it actually starts to retard. That's probably set pretty low on your setup. If you have issues with knock, you can dial that up a little bit higher. I would leave that low because if you have knock, you probably want to get the timing pulled out pretty quick. The decay time is being the big one. The decay time is what determines how much, whenever you start pulling out of your high octane table down to your low octane table, your decay time determines how fast you get back into your high octane table. So look at what the scale is on that. You make some play on that stuff, and hey, don't rip the dyno guy. You get some scale off that. You need to get back into it. So just look at your decay and maybe keep that high. See what else we got. The hold time, we're still looking at burst knock retard. The hold time is the idea of once you get knock, it's going to drop down towards your low octane table, and the hold time is going to be how long it actually stays kind of down on this lower end. So let's look at what else we got down here. Knock retard max delta. Max delta is the difference in knock retard per cylinder. We're not going to mess with that. Recovery, we've got recovery rate, and this is the rate in which the knock switches back up into the high octane table. So if you look at that, this thing is very dependent on your air mass on at least a Gen 5 and your RPM. This is kind of the big one. So, and if you look at these numbers, these looks to be in percentages. Let me double check, because they're at 256 to 256, and it says the higher that the value is, the faster the knock retard will be removed. So that makes sense. So if you look at the stock table, it's around around 2,000 RPMs. So your baseline, we would consider that 1. That's going to be a standard recovery rate. Everything above that or below that is going to be accelerated or slowed down. You could actually go below that, because above 2,000 RPMs is where your knock's going to be at. You're not going to see knock below 2,000. If you got knock below 2,000 RPMs, you've got an issue. So that's kind of a good one where you can adjust your recovery rate to make sure that you're not getting back out of the low octane table and back into the high octane table too soon. Does that make sense, Paul? Are you still following me here? I know I'm throwing a lot of crap really quick here. The big one on top of that is going to be the maximum KR versus your RPM versus MAP. And if you are worried about having significant issues because you might have something like an additive like methanol injection on top of that, you can bump up that table to give you additional KR on top of everything else. So that's kind of the one that you look at. And the cool thing about that is it's based on manifold pressure on at least the Gen 5s. It's based on manifold pressure versus RPM. So you can go up into the areas where there's going to be boost, because it's going to be like, here's atmospheric, down here's boost, and you can pull a lot of timing down there. And that's all going to be like based on additional to your low octane table. That's going to be the one that saves you if you're running forced induction and things kind of get out of whack. So take a look at that one. Maybe dial that one up. That's kind of the big things. You can go into the knock sensors. The deltas, nah, I wouldn't mess with the deltas. That's kind of where it's going to be at, Paul. Let me look where else here. See if there's anything else that might help out. Not really. I'm just afraid that anything else, if you modify it, it's going to cap you out on timing before you actually want to get capped out on timing. The big thing being the high to low tables, that's where it is. This is optimal performance. If you're reading 0 knock on your KR table on the scanner, this is where you're going to be at, minus any of the IAT and ECT subtractions, humidity, EGR, stuff like that. There's going to be those subtractions, but this is going to be the range that you'll be in. And then your low octane table is where you're going to get down to whenever you see any knock. Okay, so moving over, we've got Nick. Hey, Nick, going NA to boost, should I play with power enrichment? Yes, you should. Should always play with power enrichment because it's fun. Oh, okay. Well, we should talk about that then. Depends, Nick. Nick, depending on what your platform is, power enrichment, if you're going into boost, you have to realize whenever you're going into boost, you're effectively creating virtual compression ratio. So your engine, as it is beforehand, has a static compression ratio of, say, 11 to 1. You go into boost, you are adding to your compression ratio. And so if you have an 11 to 1 engine and you live in Midwest Ohio, you're adding 14.1 PSI, you're now 22 to 1 compression ratio if you're running 14.1 pounds of boost over that. So because of that, you've got that much air. You've doubled your air. So you need to look at your power enrichment and make sure that you are keeping that enrichment throughout the whole airflow. Power enrichment is there to make sure that you do not burn holes in your piston. You are literally adding extra fuel to make sure, because whenever you get into these high RPM ranges, everything gets really hot. The faster the RPMs are, the higher your RPMs are, the higher your cylinder temperature is. So by adding additional fuel, you are quenching your cylinder temperature to try and keep your temperatures under control. If you do not keep your temperatures under control, you will start seeing detonation, because everything will be so hot that whenever you start injecting fuel, it will just ignite because of the cylinder temp. So you need to, power enrichment is the most important thing whenever you're doing forced induction. Gen 5, does that, Paul, does that Gen 5 have the octane modifier? Well, hell, most likely. Why are you asking simple questions? Paul, the octane modifier should not play into the the octane modifier should not play into the high octane or low octane tables. That doesn't matter. That's the high octane versus the low octane is based off of knock. Hey Joe, welcome back, brother. You've missed so much. And by so much, you've missed a lot of beer drinking and some dogs. That's the big thing, Paul. In your situation, what you're looking to do, like, keep that low octane table basically stock, maybe even pull a couple degrees out of it. Yeah, we'll see you later, Carl. Thanks for stopping by. Paul, keep a couple, you can pull a couple degrees out of that low octane table. Yeah, Rashid, this will be saved. Yeah. I don't know how not to save it, so you can go back and look at it. Welcome to the stream, Rashid. You got any questions? Throw them up. Thanks for everybody that's joined recently. Yeah, Paul, that's probably more than you need to. -5 is probably good. You're not going to have issues. Are you running the AEM meth injection kit? Snow. Okay, Snow makes a good kit, man. You're good. You're good. AEM, Snow, Devil's Own, all good kits, man. I wouldn't worry too much about it. We can talk about wiring in the solenoid also on your wastegate and giving it kind of a dump channel, and that'd be a good project to. Excuse me, I'm burping my beer up. We can talk about doing a solenoid hookup on your wastegate and having your fail-safe actually trip a solenoid and make your wastegate go full open on boost, and basically it would limit you to whatever spring pressure is on your wastegate. Yeah, I've kind of got the same thing set up on the supercharger for mine. I just have not hooked up the solenoid yet. So I think that's probably your safest bet, because relying on knock is you're kind of relying on you've already got an issue. So Joe, why does my participants list show up as empty? Do you know? I know you live stream a lot more than me. I'd love to see who's in here. I'm afraid to refresh on my end because I'm afraid it'll kill my stream. Good idea. Yeah, I got 13 in here. I just wanted to see who like the names were. What we got? Who else is tuning something tonight? Let's throw something out there. Curveballs. Yeah, I figured that's probably the case, Joe. Dude, I watched your video, your last live stream about policies versus the law, man. Don't get me started, brother. Paul, you're more than welcome to send that 14SS up here, man. I'll tune it for you. Tune it for free. I just need to be able to drive it for like a couple weeks. Joe, man, yes. Yeah, that's what happens. It's a shame. But good for you for sticking to your guns, and man, won't get down that train, but yeah, it's BS. Exactly. Hey, Paul, I'll tell you what, send me that 14 Camaro. I'll get that tuned, and by the time you get done, you can send me that 2020 Corvette you're going to buy. Jeremy Krager, nothing crazy here, man. Just 2016 Silverado, record cab short bed. That's the best one to have. 5.3 headers, cat, delete intake for now. Jeremy, what do you want to do, brother? I've done it all. Record cab short bed, 700 horsepower. Let's do it. Give me a shout. I will tune the crap out of your truck. Let's throw a. I've been wanting to throw like an F1 Pro Charger on a regular cab. So, Eugene, welcome. How can I adjust the acceleration to be more aggressive or quicker to respond? Eugene, what are you driving? You got to give me some insight as to what vehicle you're trying to do this on. Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can't. I'll try. My wife says it's mine. So the 2020 will be my next ride. Yeah, Paul, I mean, you should be in line right now to order that 2020. Get that sweet ass yellow one. Jeremy, eventually D1. Yeah, okay, D1. That's all right. Cam, maybe heads. You know, heads, heads, yeah, should be your last option. Do the D1, do the cam, do headers. I don't think that you'll get that much out of the heads, Jeremy, to be honest with you. D1, though, on the 5.3, 700 horsepower. You want to do 700? We can do 700 horsepower on the D1 with the cam. Eugene, you got the CTS-V. What generation is it? Need to know what engine you're working with, Eugene. John Fair, you drunk bastard. Why are you on here? Everybody say hi to my brother, John Fair. John Fair, if you have not thumbs this up, I will kill you in your sleep tonight. Literally, this is locked down. Eugene, you got the 2014 V6 Turbo. Okay. You want your acceleration to be more aggressive. Eugene, you need to... Yeah, Jeremy's got that. No, John Fair is one of my oldest friends. Eugene, you need to dial your torque table in. Here, Eugene, let me link you an idea. This is not the end all be all, Eugene. This will get you on the right table. Listen, this is the problem with Gen 5 stuff. It's terrible. It's terrible, but it's awesome. This is like, listen, this is digital nitrous. Okay, here we go. Eugene, this is for you, brother. Watch this video that I just posted. John, don't make me come whip your ass. Watch this video that I just posted a link to. This thing will talk to you about torque tuning. This is the biggest thing that you can do on a Gen 5 engine. Basically, what you will run into on the Gen 5s, they will cap out at a certain amount of torque. We need to be able to exceed that. So we go out there, we dial some stuff up. Makes a huge difference. Even on a stock engine, stock transmission, you can pick up 15 horsepower, 15% even. So if you have not watched that, do it. Where's everybody else, John? You home alone all of a sudden? Oh, John, I don't have my. Hold on a second. I miss you, brother. I'll be right back. Ad. Okay. There we go. That's for you, John Fair. Jeremy. It's messing around with these shifts and pressures made a world. Yes, you're correct, Jeremy. And it makes an even bigger difference on Gen 5s. Yep, Paul, you know what I'm talking about. Thanks, Eugene. Appreciate it, brother. Hey, Jonathan, welcome back. Thought you were gone. Jeremy, 2016. Listen, Jeremy, you have a world of opportunity ahead of you on torque tuning alone. You don't have to be perverted about it, bro. It's not a porn channel. I don't blame you, John. Get it. But seriously, Jeremy, you Record Cab Short Bed's where it's at. I'm going to put up a video here soon. I'll show off my full 4-link drag suspension that I've put on this thing. It's dumb. John Fair, you still awake out there? Check you later, Jonathan. Yeah, Jeremy. Keep me updated. Be excited to see another crazy regular cab short bed. Ooh, 4-wheel drive. Why would you waste front axles on something like that? Okay. We're calling it a night, gentlemen. Everybody, thank you for jumping in the garage. Appreciate all the chats tonight. Had a good time. So we get some times tomorrow. we get some time tomorrow, maybe we'll fire up a live chat. So if you're sitting around scratching your asses, check out the channel. So there's links below. You know where it is. Hit up the Patreon if you want to sponsor the channel. John, how do you supercharge the 71 Chevelle? You buy one, dickhead. Okay, you guys have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.